Hello, messes, and welcome back to She's Speaking. Well, PK of Beverly Hills Housewives DM'd me. He DM'd me at 2:17 a.m. my time, and I'm in Los Angeles, but I obviously don't know exactly where he is. He could be traveling internationally like he likes to do. When I read you these messages, it doesn't appear like someone is totally sober writing them. And I know that's inflammatory, but you may have already seen these, by the way. I posted the screenshots of our DM conversation on social media because I do want people to see how PK talks to others. And it also validates what Dorit said about his 7-page email and how there were a lot of threats because PK does eventually get threatening. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to play the content that he will later refer to as a blog, but this is the piece of content that he is upset about. This was posted early on in the season. I think this was after that dinner scene that PK and Dorit had, I think. So it was a couple weeks ago, but he's just now seeing it. So I'm going to play that for you. And then I'll get into what he said to me. Again, you may have already seen this, so it's like I'm doing a lot of this buildup. Like you're like, I already read them, Emily. But we're going to read them together. And for those who are listening and not watching, I will try my best to articulate the punctuation errors and also discuss the spelling issues, a lot of grammar problems. It was a lot. So before I do that, though, make sure you are subscribed and following the show. And if you're watching on YouTube, please like this video, give a little comment below. Let's get into it. All right, up first. This is the piece of content for those who are, and I know I shared this on the podcast. I'm pretty sure I shared it on all platforms. So it may be repetitive, but I just want you to hear it again, just in case. So this, for those who are not watching and just listening, I use screenshots on a green screen situation for most of my video content. And the very first screen that I used, very first image that I used was a collage of PK and Dorit and Jagger and Phoenix. And then the bottom part of the bottom photo is a picture of PK with his older kids. Because this will come up. So that's all you need to know about that. So, okay, I'm going to play that now. So PK is about to have 2 sets of ex-wives and children he barely sees. Allegedly. I also didn't realize he was married to his first wife for 9 years as well. I know Dorit has since stated that she regrets saying PK is a bad father, but I did wonder when she said that he would go away for weeks after they'd have a bad fight. I was like, but the kids, they didn't. And also, it seems so ludicrous to most of us that they would think they could keep their separation from the children, but it seems like they basically were separated. I have learned not to believe everything either side of a situation says, but PK was on Bravo's Hot Mic, and he said that Dorit bringing up things like bankruptcies, gambling debts, that all of those things actually happened before Dorit. So her claiming she's been all supportive this whole time isn't totally true. Yeah, sure, maybe technically they happened before, but they affected your marriage. For example, yes, the Bellagio sued PK in 2013 for the $3.6 million he owed them. But then in 2022, the Bellagio came out and said, PK has defaulted on our settlement. So that sounds pretty current. Then there was that lawsuit from Nikos Kyrgios, who loaned PK money in 2011. Yes, 2011. But then in 2019, he sued PK because he's like, bro, you still haven't paid me. So then Dorit and PK were both ordered to freeze their accounts and present their financials to the court. So again, Dorit's affected. PK wants to make his life before Dorit not a thing, but honestly, he's basically repeating what he did with his first wife, Loretta. So in 2013, he was sued along with his then wife, Loretta, by PNC Bank for defaulting on the mortgage payments. At the time, the bank was demanding the full amount owed, which was over $730,000, but they did eventually drop the suit in 2014, possibly because PK repaid what they owed. But now we see from, well, allegedly from what Dorit says that was in the email, he had no plans on continuing to pay the mortgage. And now their house is in, or it was in pre-foreclosure. So when Dorit said, I am that token idiot housewife, I was like, oh no, but you are. And Bose tried to help her out. Bose is like, no, you're just taking the rose-colored glasses off. And Dorit's like, rose-colored equals idiot. So she knows PK stopped her career. When he met her, she was a designer. She had her bathing suit line. He said, I want a woman who's going to stay home, raise the kids. I don't want you to work. And she left her career to just be a housewife because she believed PK. So as I said, that was posted a few weeks ago. So this message from PK was a bit surprising. But at, like I said, 2:17 a.m., he said, is there any chance at all that you could stop lying? I was married to my first wife for 20 years, not 9. I have never had a house foreclosed upon ever, and I remain super close with all my children, particularly my 3 older ones who are not on social media, and I do not appreciate you grabbing an old photograph and posting their images on your disgusting blog, so please take their image down. Just stop lying for clicks and money. Feel free to post this message, although I doubt you will, as it will show everyone just what total shit you talk and how you have no regard for kids that are not in your super sick world. As you heard, the only thing I said was the opening line, and I continue to reference things that are discussed on the show about PK, and I'm okay with that. I respond. This was at 6:58 a.m., I said, I think sharing this message will only demonstrate the way in which you communicate, and you sent it after 2 a.m. nonetheless. While the years you were married to your ex-wife may be wrong, which I will correct because I do like to be accurate, I never said your homes were foreclosed on, but they were in pre-foreclosure, which I stated in my content. In regard to your relationship with your children, it's interesting you say you remain close with them, particularly your 3 older ones. Being that the younger ones are here in LA and in the midst of your separation, I would think you would want to ensure that relationship is strong, but that's good to know. Do you send all content creators and podcasters messages like these, or am I the only lucky one? He then responds, 4 of my kids are in LA, 1 studying in Rio. I'd personally stay away from my kids, full stop. And then he puts a quotation mark, content is designed to defame, spelled DEFAIM. But that's up to you. Obviously, it goes without saying I'm close with my little ones, and you're the lucky one that gets to hear from me because everything you said was made up. Keep writing and posting about my family, and you'll see how lucky you get. If you can't take the heat, get out the kitchen. You're spelled Y-O-U-R, not a content creator. You're spelled Y-O-U-R, a liar who posts what she wants behind a filter that's probably marginally more of a misleading image than that which you talk about. Go for it. See what a father who loves his kids will do to protect them when someone is out to harm them. And me, good luck. And I didn't mention this, but in there's a couple ellipses that I'm assuming that's what he meant to write, but instead he uses commas. So there's like 3 commas out of nowhere, 3 commas, lots of weird spacing. It's kind of hard to even articulate. Oops. So I blocked him because I was like, oh, I don't want to keep going back and forth with this guy. Like, I don't have any desire no, thank you. I already played the clip. I think that the clip was just relaying information I received, or I found and I read and I've heard. I even put sources for those who were not watching, but they listened. I put articles and clippings from articles from, or all throughout the content just so that I could show like this isn't even, I'm not the one saying this, I'm getting this from somewhere. So like I said, I posted this on social media, and a couple people were saying that kids should be off limits. I'm sorry, I'm not playing that game anymore. Like with the kids are off limits thing. Like I didn't say anything about the children. I wasn't like Jagger and Phoenix or his other kids' name. I don't even know their names, the older ones. I didn't do that. I said that he's about to have 2 sets of families that he barely fucking sees. And I stand by that. The fact that they are able, Dorit and PK, the fact that they're able to lie to the kids and still not tell them that they're separated means that PK's gone a lot. Because what dad is not home for so many weeks at a time and the kids are like, normal. No. So I'm not removing that. I'm not taking it was just a screenshot from his own Instagram that I got of the pictures of his children. I did not say anything about them. He's clearly aware. And by the way, everything else in that content was all was all fact-based. He didn't argue. He just wanted me to take out the part about the kids. No, I'm not. Sorry, but it's just the facts. Rachel Yucatel. Remember Rachel Yucatel? If you don't know who that is, look it up. I don't feel like getting into it. But she has a whole story about dating PK, talking about how he was spending like $100,000, even and more in a night on like bottle service. When he had children, he had a wife and children that he had left. He'd left his wife and he was going crazy. Rachel Yucatel talks about this. You can look that up. I don't feel like going into that, and I don't really feel like tagging her in too much. But yeah, so like I'm not falling for this. I'm not getting bullied into thinking like I did talk about his kids. No, I didn't. I talked about you, and you don't like that. Talking about children would be me insulting the children. That's it. Period. Full stop. Mr. Full Stop trying to full stop me. But yeah, the threats are really creepy. And how you want to protect your children. What are you protecting them from? The whole thing, the whole content was mainly about how he went on Bravo's Hot Mic and talked about how Dorit's just saying all this now for attention, but she wasn't even affected by my gambling debts and blah, blah, blah. When that's just not true. That was the crux of that conversation. And also the pre-foreclosure. Like, that's a fact. It's brought up at the fucking reunion, dude. So yeah, that was my morning. It was a little, it was definitely jarring. But also I knew as soon as he sent that, I'm like, when he sent the second one, I maybe wasn't going to post the first one because I don't know. I guess I was just like, well, we'll see. But when he replied to my comment, to my message with the threats, I was like, yeah, okay, no. I need people to see how he speaks to others because to me, that was crazy. And I'm like one of so many who's talking about him. I know that particular on Instagram, that particular video did do really well. I think it's like one of my best performing videos for a long time. And that's how the algorithm works. It just happens. Sometimes it just happens to pick one up more than others. I think it did pretty well on TikTok too, but regardless, it's been up for a minute and now he's just seeing it. Stop lying. I'm like, there wasn't a lie, but I will say I've looked up, I don't know how to look up his marriage license. I don't know how to do stuff like that. But when you look up how long PK was married to his first wife, it says 9 years. And that's the only reason where do you think I got that from? Like, I didn't get that from, I didn't make it up. I just looked it up and that was what came up. But I don't know how to like validate facts with licenses and shit from England. I don't know how to do that. So if anyone else does, can you look it up and verify it or something? Okay, there's my PK story. I thought my days of push-up bras were long behind me. And actually, I never really had push-up bra days, even in my early 20s. I think it's because push-up bras, as I knew them, had these like big pillows underneath that would like shove your boobs up. And they were so uncomfortable. The straps would just be digging in. And it's like, it's not even a good look, right? The Skims push-up bra, though, let me just tell you, the Skims Ultimate Push-Up Bra does not have big, bulky padding. It's just enough padding that lifts and it supports. And the straps, I've gone on and on about the straps. You know where the bra hits you by like the rib cage? And you know how you can get that nasty, mean old line from the elastic? Skims has this like extra layer of fabric. It almost feels like a padding. Oh, it's so soft. You don't get that line. You don't feel it digging into the top of your shoulders, you know? You can shop Skims Ultimate Bra Collection and more at skims.com and also at Skims LA flagship on Sunset Boulevard. After you place your order, be sure to let them know I sent you. Select podcast in the survey and be sure to select my show in the drop-down menu that follows. You know, I think I deserve a little romance in my life, even if it's just in my headphones. Dipsea is an audio app with short, spicy stories that get you in the mood. Like, you know how in Pride and Prejudice, the thing that makes you come back is that tension between Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy? Like, will they, won't they? You could dive back into that classic because it's brought to life by one of Dipsea's irresistibly sexy British voice actors. Their app has over 1,000 spicy audiobooks. Dipsea was created by women for the female gaze. Maybe you're looking for a rugged cowboy or a Scottish sailor. You'll find characters you love on Dipsea. New chapters are released every week, so you'll definitely find something new to enjoy. And right now, listeners of this show can get an extended 30-day free trial. Just go to dipseastories.com/she-speaks to start your free trial. That's DIPSEA stories.com/she-speaks for 30 days of full access for free. Visit dipseastories.com/she-speaks. Now, next story. So I'm not going to recap the reunion right now. I'm going to wait to do it on Sunday with Kendrick for the wrap up. I almost didn't want to do it at all. That reunion sucked. Ugh, it was infuriating. It did not spark joy. And I was almost like, I'm not going to even talk about it until the reunion's over. But I will discuss it with Kendrick on Sunday when we cover Atlanta and White Lotus. So that will be there. But I did want to come to talk about, besides the PK thing, one of the producers of Bravo has gone rogue and he's calling it out. And I'm obsessed with him. His name is Patrick McDonald. I've been following him for a minute because I knew he was a producer on these shows. And so he apparently, according to him, let me just give you just a real quick, just to let you know. He was the supervising producer on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Orange County, and Vanderpump Rules. He produced 13 seasons of Bravo shows across 9 different shows. So that's a lot. That's a lot of work. So, but we know what that means. It means he was good. That means they liked him. That means he just kept getting picked up to go do this one, go do this one. He did also work on Atlanta. That was like his first one, he said, that he got to do Atlanta. So he's been around, he's seen it. But so he started to do OnlyFans. Now, I think for those of us watching Bravo shows, that is like not even a thing anymore. Like, right? That's like Denise Richards is on OnlyFans, whatever. But so he's been producing what he calls adult content on OnlyFans. And since starting this content, he's been iced out of all of the shows he's worked on. So he hasn't heard from Real Housewives of Orange County, and their cameras are back up, so he's obviously off that show. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, he hasn't heard from them since the St. Lucia trip. And I don't believe he's on the Vanderpump. He must not be on the Vanderpump reboot because he would. But anyway, so he knows he's out. He knows he's been blackballed from the Hollywood, not even Hollywood, reality TV producing game. Like, he's like, fine, that's fine. He seems to be very happy making his adult content. He's like, I have some freedom. I have work-life balance. I think for gay men, especially, this is not that crazy of a route to take. Because that's the thing about the gays. They love porn. Like, they love it. Okay? Like, the porn stars are stars for a lot of the gay community. And I know all my gays listening are going, yep, this is a true thing. Absolutely. It's just more taboo in the straight community, porn. It just is. And I don't know why exactly that is. I was like going to try to maybe figure out why, but that's just the facts. So porn is very mainstream in the gay community. And I would think on Bravo, it would like not even kind of make a difference. Now, I don't know what kind of content. Like, the adult content world is a vast land of fetishes and things. I'm not 100% sure. But I just wouldn't think that it would even matter for a producer of Bravo shows, right? But anyway, because he's been iced out, he is taking this opportunity not to talk shit and like be salacious, but to call out the abuses essentially for the crew. And by now, if you guys have been following me for a minute, you know that I often bring up production and the crew and how they make these shows, because that I find fascinating. Like, when I'm watching, sometimes I'm like, how did they get that shot? And the whole reality TV boom happened when the writer's strike from however many years, 20 plus years ago happened. Or 2015? I don't know. You know my concept of time. But the first writer's strike, and that was when networks and shit were like, we just need to do reality because there's no union. So technically we're not breaking any rules. They're cheap as hell to make because you're not paying a writer. You're not paying like a proper director, but sometimes you pay a director, but a lot of the time the producer on a reality show is the director. And producers, when you think producer, right? Usually if you're thinking of a scripted show, a producer is the one who kind of does behind the scenesy stuff, right? But a producer on reality TV is so different because they're not directing someone to say lines. They're literally coaxing content, like share more, say things, that type. It's very different than producing a scripted show. You are like a therapist too, because they're reaching out to you. If you're if you're producing someone and you're their connection, their go-to, you're getting a phone call in the middle of the night because they're freaking out about something. So it's a very draining job. But in addition to all of that, they also direct it. So you know how we will notice like focus pulls or they're like zooming in one part, that they're like the ones directing it. Like, they're the ones going, okay, zoom in here, get closer to Kyle. Okay, pull back. Like, that's a lot. They're like maintaining the stories and they're try not to push too hard, but then also directing it because at the end of the day, this is what's going to go to the network and the network is expecting X, Y, and Z. So he's exposing a lot of the crew stuff. Like, there's a position called a logger. Now, this one really got to me, and I'm going to read the transcript of what he said because this one was like, it just took me back to my restaurant managing days, and it's like an injustice. So this is what he says. He says, the loggers, these people are some of the most overworked and underpaid people in the entertainment industry. These are the people who are transcribing the scene work so they can write a summary to send to the network to read what happened for the day. They're expected to be very detailed and accurate. And first of all, the logger position should be an associate producer position across the board. A lot of these shows will call them loggers so they can pay them less for doing the same job as an associate producer. But these people are worked so hard and they deserve the AP title. The loggers have to work their full 12-plus hour day, and then they have to go home and write a summary, which can take hours. And also, this is me going off book here, but you know what's so hard too is after a long day, having to write up a whole story on it, it's like your brain is fried. And he says, especially on the cast trips when we're shooting all day, this is a lot of writing. So these loggers go back to their rooms and are sometimes up until 4 a.m. and then have to be ready to work again at 8 a.m. By the second day of the trip, they are zombies. And the worst part is that they often aren't even paid for all the extra hours. Can't tell you how many times a logger has complained to me that production denied their overtime requests because they didn't request it in advance. Now, how can you request something in advance when you don't know how long it's going to take you to write something? The entire hot sheet system needs to be overhauled and streamlined because as it stands, it's completely broken. He says a lot more stuff, but I would encourage you to go check out his actual I think he posted it on Instagram, on Twitter. I don't know where else. I want him to get the engagement on his posts, and I want it to take off, and I want him to see firsthand what people supporting him, because it's a risky thing, and he'll never work again in the entertainment industry because he did this, right? I've reached out to him and we have connected because I'd love to have him come on. And so I believe he will be able to join me. We have it set up, but he's also in Thailand for a month for his birthday, which is so cool. And so hopefully we can have that arranged and set up. If I don't end up getting to connect with him, then I'll share more and get into more of my thoughts on this. But I don't want to do like a double up because he's going to probably come on. He knows I'm not going to try to get like some salacious story out of him. I really do want there to be a change for the crew. I don't like knowing that we're watching shows where the crew doesn't like working on them. And I'm always calling out to like those intimate scenes. You know, it's like the creepy, like when Ashley Darby did that blindfolding Michael scene. Sorry to bring that up. I'm getting nauseous thinking about it. There's a camera guy right there. There's a person holding a fucking camera. You know, like when they go, even when they go to doctor's appointments, how many vaginal rejuvenations have they documented? You know, it's like the crew is the one capturing it, and the camera guys will. Any person who's worked on these shows talks about how the camera guys are the hardest fucking working people because they're the ones that have to capture it. So they're running around in the heat, in the snow, in the rain, whatever, to get these shots, and they're always overlooked because someone's looking at what they're putting on front, what they're showing them, like the camera. What's the camera capturing? They're forgetting that there's a person there because he calls out how the camera guys, they're lugging around heavy equipment and they're just not thought about for 4 hours straight in the sun on a cast trip with these cameras. Like, yeah, they're fucking tired. But this is something that I'm so happy he's doing it, and it's something that I am passionate about now because we need to revolutionize the way we handle certain industries, the restaurant business being one of them, because this concept is grind, don't complain, don't be properly compensated. It's just part of the gig. And eventually you'll be promoted to this higher up position where you can tell someone like you what to do. But then you look at those people up there and you're like, they are overworked. Yes, they're paid well. But a lot of the time they look super exhausted. They never have a day off. They never have a real break. And it doesn't really seem like something you even want to aspire to. So why does the journey have to be so horrendous, especially when the company makes so much fucking money? You know, Peacock, I just saw a report that said Peacock made 300 million, maybe 200 million on Bravo shows alone, like on Housewives, actually, specifically. So these shows, I know Peacock is not the same as the producing team who does the shows and films the shows, because that's a different, you have like this, the field team, and then you have the network, which aren't the same. But we've got to change the pay scale too. The inflation has raised everything. Everything's more expensive, but your baseline entry-level salary is still what it is. And the people who make these shows that we love to watch should be properly cared for. All right. So I'm going to get more into it with Patrick, hopefully. I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. Otherwise, I wouldn't be talking about it. But I do want to put out that it's possible that it won't happen. But I'm pretty sure it's going to, because, yeah. But okay. I'm going to wrap up now. And I will see you guys Sunday. If you cannot make it, no worries. The replay is always available. But if you can, 10 a.m. PT on YouTube. Kendrick's there. It's fun. The chat's fun. But if not, just catch the replay. And okay, I'm going to go. All right, guys. Love ya. Mean it. I'll talk to you next time. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to She's Speaking with Emily Hanks. This show is produced, hosted, and edited by me, Emily, and brought to you in partnership with Cloud 10 Media. If you are looking for bonus content, check out the Patreon. The link is in the description. To show some support, you can hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Another free way to support the pod, please rate and/or review on whatever platform you listen. It's free and it helps the algorithm or something. You could also head to buymeacoffee.com/shespeaks and buy me a coffee or two. Make sure you're following me on all social medias. I am She's Speaking with Emily Hanks across all platforms: Threads, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. That's it. Thank you guys. See you soon.